Hey guys, good morning everybody. Today is Friday, August 29th. It is 6:23 right now. We got market opening up in about 7 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and mark up liquidity over here and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. It's got a few things here to update and we should be good to go. Going down to the 30-minute. Down to the 15. Ten-minute. And back down to the 1 minute here. All right, looks like we're good to go. So good morning, everybody. Today is Friday, August 29th. Happy Friday, everyone. It is 6:26 right now. We got market opening up in about 4 minutes. I marked up liquidity over here. Taking a look at the overall direction of market structure, we're currently bullish right now across pretty much majority of the time frames except the 15. So the 1, 5, 30, 1 hour, 4 hour, all bullish here. Looking over here at the overall trend, everything is pretty much bullish for the most part as well, except for the 15-minute and the 30-minute. So the 1 minute, 5 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, everything is bullish here. Price is above the pivots. Trend meter is green. Pivots are angling to the upside. 15-minute and 30-minute here are starting to follow. So we might be looking for buys today for the most part. Looking over here at my overall market outlook for the day, it is neutral to slightly bearish with medium conviction, 6 out of 10 alignment score. Market opens on a cautious tone. Macro data PCE was in line with a dovish for Fed expectations. But the Dow futures are weakness and earnings drag Dell and Marvel weigh on sentiment. So technicals are showing short-term distribution with resistance overhead. Expect a choppy to slightly bearish session unless bulls reclaim key VWAP and pivot zone. So with that being the case here, you got the gist of it. Price here is likely to be choppy. So you might get price push up a little bit, push down, push up, etc. Hopefully we get some direction here on open, at least for the orb. That's what I'm hoping for. And then we'll go from there. So with that being said, let me go ahead and mark up some structure down here. I got a support level. Let's see. It's like down here. It's a little farther below, but it's a support level nonetheless. Got another one right here too. Another one down here. I mean, this isn't like super relevant, but it's gonna be still gonna be somewhat useful to us in a sense. Support level right here. It's a little messy. A little messy. We have an imbalance right here. I mean, price is probably gonna break past it, so and I'll come back and market those imbalances a little later. But all right, guys, direction for the momentum breakout for today is going to be a buy if you're looking to take it. We have a buy signal right here, so if you're looking to take that momentum breakout, buy for the day. Um, Other than that, we'll look for the orb today, of course. So the orb over here, market's gonna open up shortly in about 15 seconds. Looking for the possible orb there. Hey, Daniel, morning. Morning, David. Morning, Memeski. Morning, Maria. Morning, Ben. Morning, Karen. Morning, Lila. Morning, everybody. Happy Friday, guys. Market is opening up in about, there we go. Market is now open. So market is now open. Price is blasting up. Momentum breakout for the day is currently running in profit. I'm going to just mark that up real quick. So momentum breakout for today is running right there for a buy. It's pushing up right now. We'll follow it here as price continues to obviously, move along. The 40 points already got hit, it looks like. Yeah, 40 points already pushed through for the momentum breakout right there. We'll be looking for a possible orb here, of course, as price continues to move along. So you guys can see here that price is still within yesterday's orb, right? So it's within yesterday's orb right here. It's going to create a new orb as price moves along, of course. So we got the high point right here. Looks like price didn't really do much from yesterday till today. Overall direction here, of course, is for a buy, as you guys can see. So the momentum breakout right there hit full TP already, you guys, if you guys took that. Full TP for the momentum breakout. I'm now looking for a possible orb entry here if price continues to push up higher. We don't have a price point yet, but I'm looking for price to continue pushing up higher, of course, because I'm looking for a buy entry here. Hey, Daniel. Morning. Morning, Sam. Morning, everybody. All right, guys, market is fully open now. We got the orb setting up right here. Orb high looks like it's going to be at 45,659. Orb lows right here going to be at 45,608. So I'll be looking for possible opportunity here for orb. The orb is in the same range as yesterday. So you can see over here, this is yesterday's orb. Price hasn't really moved much from yesterday. So we had a lot of consolidation choppiness yesterday. Let's see if price actually breaks out of this area and continues today. If not, we're not going to be forcing anything, of course, but I'll be looking for possibility here as price continues to move along. So the orb high right there is going to be at 45. 659. I'm going to look for a clean break, guys. So I need a clean break above this area for me to take this orb high. I'm going to watch the price action, make sure that price actually breaks past it and, holds. Or if you're looking for the orb sell over here, it's going to be down here below at 45,608. So we got two different orb areas here. Orb for the bottom right here, orb low. And then we have the orb high right here. Orb high is at 45,659. Orb low is at 45,608. So it kind of depends on where price ends up pushing. If it breaks below here and closes, it'll be an orb low for a sell. If price pushes above here and closes, it's going to be orb high for a buy, right? So we got price right here rejecting off the low. For me personally, I ideally would look for a buy here, not really a sell, because overall bias for me is currently a buy, right? We have a bullish market structure over here for the 1 minute, 5 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4 hour, and then looking over here at the overall trend, still very bullish across the board, 1 minute, 5 minute, uh, 1 hour, 4 hour. 15 and 30 minute are still kind of mixed, but for the most part, ideally I'd look for some buys here. If you guys want to take the sell, feel free. I'll have it marked up for you guys there if that's the case. But for me personally, I'm going to be looking for a possible buy here. So full TP over here on the momentum breakout. If you guys caught that, 50 points. So full TP right there for the momentum breakout for market open. We got price pushing back up over here. I'm going to clean this up a little bit. So yeah, price kind of just, sitting in limbo right here right now. There's a sweep right here immediately on open. So a sweep right there off the lower low. If anybody caught that. We got price pushing back up here as we speak. No break and close past the orb high yet, but so we got a couple entries here which have came up. We have a sweep right here which came up. We had the momentum breakout hit full TP for 50 points. Looking for the orb high over here to get broken and pushed above. Um, yeah, I'm just kind of following here. As you guys can see, price is really just going sideways right now. A lot of choppiness. It is aligning with my overall market bias for today. I mentioned this was going to happen here. As you can see, expect a choppy to slightly bearish session unless bulls reclaim key VWAP and pivot zones. Right now, we're getting that choppiness that I just mentioned, right? So I sent this out about 30 minutes ago so that you guys can have an idea what to look out for. Market's doing exactly what my overall bias has mentioned. I generate this report through AI, guys. So this here helps with a lot of just the overall direction. Because what I do with my AI is I have my agent look for the fundamental bias for the market and then the technical bias, and then I combine those together for this report. So this covers everything: fundamentals, technicals, and then it gives me the details of what to focus on and what to look at. So just something there to look at, obviously, and we'll see, where price ends up going from here. If price drops below, then we can have the scenario here for range to downside continuation. Second scenario here is if price breaks above 575, which it's currently at right now, and stays, push up to 45,610, which already did actually. So this has already happened. Anyways, no orb high here yet, or no orb at all. No orb high or low. Price is sitting within the range. Yeah, price is pretty much just ranging back and forth at the moment, guys. So we'll keep watching. We will keep watching here. All right, no structure here right now at the moment. We do have, so I have an imbalance right here, which just got filled, looks like. So there is and was an imbalance right here. Price break pretty much broke and retest the imbalance and possibly a continuation up higher. I mean, we'll see what happens here, of course. I'll just have that imbalance there marked up just in case. Because if that's the case, we'll have a nice confluence there if price decides to, break above and climb up higher. But we're just getting this heavy, heavy range right now, guys. So with this heavy range right here, it's not a good opportunity to look for entries. If you guys are just joining in, we had a couple entries here show up today so far. We had the momentum breakout, which hit full TP for 50 points right there, initially on open. There's no orb yet. And then we're currently looking for continuation here if we get that. But as you guys can see, not too much direction here. Price is again retesting this imbalance. Again, if you're looking for the orb low is going to be at 45,608. Orb high is going to be right here at 45,659. So we'll keep watching, guys. You just got to be patient. No need to force anything here. Yeah, and Sam also mentioned last trading day of the month. Yeah, exactly. So you just got to be careful, guys. It's Friday, last trading day of the month. We have a holiday week next week. It's a long weekend. With it being a long weekend, a lot of people might have taken the week off already. So the market might just stay flat today, right? People out of the market already so far, then there's just not going to be any catalyst to push price around. I don't think there's any news events today really either, aside from pre-market. So pre-market, we had inflation data over here came out. It's pretty much neutral to negative. We have Chicago PMI at 645. And then we have Michigan consumer sentiment at 7 o'clock. So the orb sell over here just came up, guys. If you guys want to take that, feel free. Again, like I said, I'm not really looking to take sells here because my overall bias is bullish. So if you guys want to take the orb sell has came up right there. It's currently active and running. I'm not going to be taking this trade here because obvious reasons. Like I said, my overall bias for today is bullish. So I was mainly looking for buys here, not for any sells. But the orb sell is currently active. So we're out. We're off of that right there. Yeah, with that being the case, I guess we'll just continue to wait here. All right, so unfortunately, looks like no orb here for me today, guys. I'll be looking for a possible continuation if we get that, but market's so choppy today that I don't even know if we'll get that today. Um, so it's all good. I guess we'll just have to kind of play by ear here, as price continues to move along, of course. Yeah, so there we go. As price swings back up. This is why I did not want to take any sells here. Like how prices swing all the way back up, guys. Hopefully you guys didn't take that orb. Like I mentioned. I was specifically looking for a sell, I mean for a buy, and because the buy didn't come up, I just didn't end up taking the trade. That's why it's really important that you guys trade with a bias, right? You guys have to have some sort of bias in the market. You can't just take every single trade that comes up, or you're gonna get caught in these fake outs. So thankfully we skipped that trade there. Not in any positions right now. I'll be looking for the next opportunity, which is going to be a high-low break and retest off this higher high right here. It's going to be right here at 45,659. So we definitely dodged a bullet right there by not taking any sells. I'm looking for price here to push up, break above this level right here, this higher high, 45,659. And I'll be looking for a break and retest continuation to the upside. So my bias here is very strong for a buy, guys. I'm not looking for any sells here. Overall market structure, strong bullish. Looking over here at my overall trend, very bullish. 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, 30 minute, 1 hour, 4. Everything's bullish right now. So there's no point in looking for sells here. Make sure that you focus on a bias. It doesn't have to be bullish like mine, but if you are looking for sells, make sure that you have a bias in that direction. So, just got to be smart about your entries, guys. Can't take every single entry out there. That's how you get burnt, right? I've been trading long enough to know that if you kind of trade randomly, you don't have any plan in place, it's going to be very easy for you to blow your account, or not even blow your account, but just make mistakes that will slowly blow your account. I think that's the worst, right? A slow churn to the downside. It makes you second think even trading altogether, especially if you've had such a nice streak so far for the month. All right, so we have another imbalance right here, guys. So we got an imbalance right here. Price came, retested, shot back up. It's looking perfect right now. So we had that retest right there off that imbalance. We have another imbalance right here. Price is breaking up higher. There's two things here that I'm kind of looking for. I would like price to maybe come back down, bounce off the imbalance and shoot right back up. Or if that's not the case and price just shoots directly up right now above this higher high, I'm okay with that too. Because we have all this liquidity sitting up here, right? So I'll be looking for price to break and close past this number right here, 45,659. Yeah, 45,659. That's the same price as my orb high. So I'll be looking for price. I'm looking at price action here. This is going to be aligned with my orb high still. See, I was looking for price to break that orb high, right? Price is broke it right there. If it closes above this orb high, I'll be looking to take this here as a high-low break and retest. It's got to close above it. It's got to hold above this area. If it rejects off this and sits below, then I'm not going to mess with it. But if it holds above and it sits above that area, I'll be looking to take that there as an orb high. Or not an orb high. I'm taking that as a break and retest, but it's going to align with the orb high that we initially looked at. So I'm watching it right here. It's got about 10 seconds left on it. Now we're getting a rejection right there. Let's see if it holds. No, so no close right there, guys. So in order to take this right here, it has to close above the price point right there, that blue line. So it failed to close above it. It broke past it, but didn't actually close. We have another opportunity right here on this next candle. Be watching it right here if price ends up closing above it. Price action's not the best right now. All right, I'll be watching this right here. All right, I'll put my pending order right there.
Order submitted. Or
It's got to fill on this candle here. If it doesn't fill on this candle, I'm going to cancel it. So this is
Order
a
submitted.
this is a high-low break and retest right here that I'm trying to get into. I'm gonna cancel it, guys. I just realized we have news coming up right here at 6:45. It doesn't look like I'm gonna get a fill anyways because price is already pushed up. So I'm gonna cancel this. So no, it doesn't look like it's gonna fill. It has to come down and fill on this specific candle. If you guys want to take it at your own risk, but there is high impact news coming up right here at 6:45. We got Chicago PMI.
Order canceled.
So I just canceled my order right there. I don't think it's gonna fill anyway, so it wouldn't even matter if I canceled it or left it on there because I would have had to cancel it anyways after this candle. So price right here did not push back down to fill. No high-low break and retest on that one, guys, unfortunately. Price is coming up, grabbing liquidity. And this would have been a nice entry, though, if it came down and filled it, right? Boom, 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 straight up. But no fill right there. So either way, I had to cancel it. For one, there was no fill. For two, there was news right here at 6:45. So we got news right here. This is the news candle. Chicago PMI, inflation news. I'll clean that up. There goes the news candle right there. It's having a news reaction at this moment as we speak. We have another news event at 7 o'clock, Michigan consumer sentiment. So Chicago PMI over here was negative. And this has been like the thing lately. It hasn't really been retesting, right? This week, we've seen this happen time and time again, like no retest, which is super annoying. Uh, the analysis is right. The good thing here is that the analysis has primarily been pretty much right with regard to our direction. I have a bias where price pushes up and I look for an entry, but there just hasn't been a lot of retest. It's like break close continuation, but no break close retest, which is okay. I mean, that's just, sometimes the market's like that. It doesn't pull back, but it is kind of annoying because I'm like, I just want to get into this position. Like, just let me get in. And we just haven't had that opportunity. Anyways, let's keep looking over here, guys. That's pretty much done with. Let's take a look at the orb now. So the orb here, let's see if it pushed up 40 points yet. Not quite. So this was the orb that I was looking for, guys. The orb that I personally wanted to take would have been this right here. This is the orb that I was looking to take. Fortunately, did not have the opportunity here to get into it because it did break below here for a fake out and then it pushed right back up. Then I was looking for the high-low break and retest right there. It didn't actually retest. Now we're getting a market reaction right here based off the news. See prices dumping right here because it's based off the news event that just came out. We had Chicago PMI come out right here at 6:45. It was negative. Market is now reacting to that news event. So this is why I don't trade news because see how price gets highly manipulated once we get to news. You don't want to get caught in that, right? You got to be smart about it. I've been trading long enough to know that when you trade news, you're really taking a gamble because it's really hard to predict what news is going to do. It doesn't matter if news is negative or positive, price will still react to it however it wants, right? Basically, wherever the majority of retail is sitting, news will probably push the opposite way. Doesn't even matter if it's positive or negative, it'll still push the opposite way. And then it'll probably whipsaw back up. So this right here probably push this way and then whipsaw back up. Looks like it's establishing at least some sort of range here. We might have another imbalance right here, but from the upside. So this could be a possible imbalance right here if this candle ends up closing. So you guys can see the differences between support and resistance and imbalance, right? We have an imbalance right here, imbalance right here, imbalance right here. We have a support right here and a resistance turn support right here. So the imbalances are going to be cut off. I'll be marking up where the imbalance actually starts. And then the support and resistance, I will have them marked up as structure fully. So we have a imbalance right here, guys. This imbalance is from this green candle to this red candle right here. So there's two things that may happen with this imbalance. Price is either going to break and retest it, or price is going to mitigate and invalidate this imbalance and shoot up, right? Here, price comes down and tests this imbalance. You can see price is still dropping. It's having the reaction to the news event. Again, if you guys are just coming in right now and you didn't follow the news right here at 6:45 was negative. So right here at 6:45, price came up, faked out, shot right back down. Market reaction to the news, and we'll see what happens here as it continues on. We have another news event here at 7 o'clock, Michigan consumer sentiment, high impact news. also inflation data, and we'll see how that reacts to it there. There's multiple imbalances here coming up, and I'm just going to mark up this one right here. There's another imbalance right here, possibly, but I'll leave that one alone for now. All right, man, this week's been pretty trash for the most part. We've been getting a lot of this consolidation back and forth this whole week, guys. Unfortunately, not too many opportunities to take entries. Um, my bias for today is still very bullish, so I'm looking for buys here as price continues to move along. But you can see over here, even for the orb, right? The orb has not gone anywhere. Here's a clear distinction of like the market not doing anything. You guys see yesterday's orb? It's right here in this middle. Price hasn't pushed away from the orb today. It's still within it. It's even smaller. See how tighter it is? It's an orb within the orb. So this is the opening range from yesterday, and this is the opening range for today. It's an orb within an orb. That's how bad the market's been for the past couple days, or basically this entire week. At least so yesterday it didn't overlap. It was a little bit off. Price did come back down to retest the orb though. So see how we the orb over here? Yeah, it's pretty interesting how price does this sometimes. Because if you have the orb that's like close enough, usually it acts as a resistance or a support for the following day. So you see these boxes on my chart, guys? These are the previous orbs from the previous day. See how these orbs are not close to each other? They're usually away because price goes away from the orb. However, today and yesterday, like for example, even last week on the 20th, price was within the orb and it ends up just consolidating sideways. So price is actually respecting the orb here. Prices came down a little bit. What I might see here, and what looks like might be the case, is price may come down to this area right here, and it might bounce off the orb. So we might get a wick rejection off this orb, and it might come back up, like at the orb from yesterday. So this is going to be at 45, 586. I'm kind of curious to see how price reacts to this area here. So let's see if we get a rejection right here, possibly a sweep off the lower orb. And it looks like that's happening. This big rejection right there. See if there's any sweep levels around there. Not quite. All right, let me clean this up a little bit. Price broke past that structure, so that's pretty much invalidated. Broke past that structure too, invalidated. This could be a possible sweep area. See if it sweeps off this and pushes up because it's currently at that. And look at that sweep. Beautiful sweep right there. Uh, Not a strong one, but if you're going for a small little target, you get like a quick 20, 15 points there. Something out of Sam's playbook. But we do have news coming up in about 8 minutes, guys. So I'd be careful taking any entries here because the inflation news was already negative. So we had Chicago PMI, which it was forecasted to be 46. It was 41.5, so it was worse than expected, negative 4.5. We got Michigan consumer sentiment over here. It's forecasted to be negative. So if they're both negative, you might get a further push down because all of this is news driven right now. The catalysts right now are the news events. You want to be careful around news events, of course. You want to wait for the market to react to it, and then you want to look for entries after that. Because this big dump right here is based off the news, right? It's all following this news event right here. So you want to wait to see if it continues or if we get a full-on reversal and it swings right back up. So I would be careful with some sweeps right now. It's not the best time to take sweeps because there's still follow through with the news event from earlier today. Plus we have another one right here at 7 o'clock. So for me, I would just sit on your hands. If you're waiting to take an entry, guys, I would wait for the news to pass, wait for market to react to it, and then take your position based off like how the reaction played through. Here's another thing. So what you want to look at here is when this news event comes out, if it's negative, so say for example, it's forecasted to be 58.6 and say it's around 50, right? If that's the case and you get price which pushes up, I would wait a little bit and then wait for it to come all the way back down for correction, right? Because you might get manipulation on that point. I've traded so many news events in the past where I used to do that. So I would trade the opposite of news. Like sometimes if news was like negative, I would just trade it for the opposite direction because I'd wait for the manipulation. and then I would ride it back the other way. So I basically hit it both ways. See how price is now pushing up? This is pre-news movement, right? This thing might have like a slow climb to the upside, and then at 7 o'clock, it might just dump right back down. This is where it becomes tricky because a lot of people are anticipating this to be negative. They already know this news event was negative. If this is negative, this should be negative too, right? The inflation news follows each other. But let me go ahead and clean up this imbalance. That's pretty much done with. It's been mitigated. We now have a really big imbalance right here. It's actually retesting it as we speak. So this right here is retesting the imbalance. This imbalance is based off this red candle right here and this red candle right here. So price broke below this structure. It created an imbalance right there, bearish imbalance, retested the imbalance, and now it's coming back down lower. But we do have news coming up in about 5 minutes, so I would sit tight, guys. Don't make any unnecessary trading decisions right now. It's not the time to make any risky decisions because we do have news coming up shortly in about a few minutes. Again, like I said, I would wait for the news to pass. Once the news passes, see if price gets manipulated or see if it continues down lower. Right, you got to be patient. This is a game of patience, guys. For a lot of you guys who've been trading for a while, I'm sure a lot of you guys have been burnt over the years, over the months, over the days, over the weeks because of impatience, right? I'm sure if you guys ever took a loss and you look back at it and you're like, damn, I could have avoided that loss if I was just patient. It's the same thing that happened with me on Wednesday, right? Wednesday, I woke up late. I was so frustrated that I missed on the orb that I took a high-low break and retest that I should have avoided because market was choppy, was not going directional. I still took the trade and unfortunately I lost, right? But I look back at it and I realized that it was because of FOMO. Like my trade psychology really forced me to take that trade. But at the end of the day, it was my fault because I'm the one that took the trade. So, I gotta, I just gotta suck up to it and, take the loss and move on to the next day. And that's why today I'm being a little more cautious because I already knew I made a mistake this week. I don't have room for another mistake. So price over here pretty much came up, retested this imbalance, and now it's coming back down. We got news in 4 minutes. So once that news comes out again, guys, we'll see what happens. So right here, usually 5 minutes before news, you start to get a pre-news movement, right? So between here, you want to see how the candles move because once the news is actually released right here at 7 o'clock, you're either going to get a manipulation back up or you're going to get a huge spike down. It just kind of depends on where sentiment's currently sitting. I know a lot of you guys are trying to look for sentiment. Let me see if I could still pull up a sentiment. I don't know if IG sentiment still gets updated, but yeah, let's see. I'm gonna pull it up real quick. IG sentiment, US 30. I know they kicked out US clients. Okay, so let me go over here real quick. I'll show you guys a sentiment right now. All right, here goes the sentiment, guys, for Wall Street. So right now, the sentiment's currently 58% short. So 58% of traders are currently selling right now. It's not really heavy. Typically we use sentiment to our advantage when it's like above 65%. So right now it just shows that there's a lot of people who are trying to sell. They're trying to short the market right now. What you want to do a lot of the time is you want to do the opposite of everybody, right? You want to be contrarian in the market because you don't want to do what everybody's doing. Because if you are, you're probably going to get stopped out. You're going to get, they're going to whip these people out of the market. That's why they whipsaw price to like stop them out, and then price ends up going in the direction. So with this being the case, whenever it's not heavy, like I said, but if it's like 65 to 70%, I would do the opposite. If I see 70% of traders in the market who are selling, I'm going to go long. If I have 65 to 70% of traders in the market going long, I'm going to sell. Right now, it's kind of down the middle, so it's kind of hard to really use the sentiment to your advantage. But you gotta be realistic. If you think about the market in bigger perspective, right? About 90% of people in the market fail. So why would you do what everybody's doing? Do the opposite. Um, right now, my bias is pretty mixed. Looking over here at market structure, it's kind of mixed right now. The 1 minute's bearish, 5 minutes bearish, 15 minutes neutral. 30 minutes bullish, 4 hours bullish, and then 1 hour is neutral. So with that being the case here, I don't really have much of a bias, right? I need to see price here kind of react a little bit. If this is the case and price continues to drop, then okay, maybe I'll start looking for some sells. But if that's not the case and price continues to climb back up, then I might be looking for some buys. It just kind of depends on what we're looking at here overall. And then we have the news event right here. So see how price here is starting to go flat? It's just going back and forth. It's because a lot of people are just sitting out until news happens. I think everybody's scared to take a trade right now because this is going to affect the market right now in about 30 seconds. 30 seconds, we have Michigan consumer sentiment. It is inflation news. And it's going to give you an idea of where price is going to continue for the rest of the day. So if it's negative, then I think for the rest of the day, price is going to continue dropping. It may push up a little bit, but it may continue dropping from there. Let's go back to the orb. Check out the orb, guys. Looks like it might fake out from down here and pull right back up, right? Big spike candle right there. That is the news candle. So we got news right there. There goes the news candle. I'm going to try to clean this up as much as I can. The imbalance is still there, so I'll leave it as is. We got a little bit of a messy chart here. Let me try to clean this up as much as I can. Take that off. Take that off. All right, so price is pretty much ranging and consolidating within this middle area right here, right? A lot of back and forth sideways move. Let's take a look at the news real quick, see what the news was. So the news was negative. Not very negative, but it was slightly negative. It was forecasted to be 58.6, it was 58.2. So it's not a huge drop, but it was still negative nonetheless. So in order for me to take some entries here, I'm going to be looking for price to either break below this area, come down lower, or if price corrects back up, I'm going to look for price to break above and continue up higher from there. But right now, you don't really have much here. Price is kind of just going back and forth as we speak. I was really hoping we're going to get some volatility and direction right before that Labor Day weekend. We have a long weekend, guys, so just a heads up, no trading on Monday. Markets are going to be closed. They're technically going to be open for, I think, half day, but there's no point in trading. There's not going to be any volatility in the market. So just a heads up there. Also, another heads up, Apex is having a Labor Day sale. It's pretty big. It's 90% discount. So if you guys saw my post in the Discord, 90% off any evaluation and then 80% off recurring months. And then the lifetime fees are super cheap, 85 bucks. Dirt cheap. See, this is how they get you. So see, they have a special lifetime PA fee, 37 bucks for 250K and 300K. They just want to lure you into getting the big accounts. I mean, you guys can do it if you want to yellow the account. You can possibly pass it within a day, but that's how they get you. They kind of pressure you to want to take the big accounts and just kind of take like crazy trades to pass right away. But most people are going to fail and they're going to blow the account. So they kind of just, it's a quick money grab for them. So just something to keep in mind. All right, so price over here swept this area, guys. Looks like it came up. It swept this lower high, which was also liquidity, and it also came up and bounced off the imbalance. So I have this big imbalance right here. Price basically came up, swept the imbalance. The news was negative, so that was kind of key right there, is moving in the direction of overall sell. So like I mentioned earlier, I said if the news is negative, expect price to continue dropping lower from here, right? And that's probably what's going to happen here. Price is probably going to keep dropping as we speak. It's a little tricky, but you're willing to take that risk. Price is dumping right there. We had a sweep right there for about 40 points. There's a possible high-low break and retest right here as well. Not a clean break and retest, but break and retest right there lower. We have some structure right here. So we have some support levels that are getting broken past as we speak. There's actually another imbalance that just came up right here, currently pending. A lot of imbalances here. The imbalance will be between this candle and this big candle right here. So we're getting a news reaction here, right? This is another dump. What do you think this dump's about? It's about the Michigan consumer sentiment. So I mentioned this earlier. The initial inflation news here, Chicago PMI was negative, and then the Michigan consumer sentiment was negative. So what do you think is happening here? People are reacting to the news, right? That's why I say wait for the news to happen and then identify the direction after it. It's doing exactly what I just talked about earlier. I said if this news was negative, it's probably going to keep dropping. That's exactly what's happening here, right? Because you already had the first drop right here. Everybody's expecting this to be negative. Price kind of went back and forth here for a little bit to lure in buyers to do the opposite, but it ended up dropping super heavy right here further. So if you measure the movement from the initial news right here down to here, it's about a 200-point drop. I used to trade news before, guys, but again, I don't really trade news because it's very risky. I'm not very much of a risky trader anymore, as much as I used to in the past, but the good thing is that my analysis here is still lining up perfectly so that you guys can use it to your advantage. For those of you who do want to take that risk, and I know there's a handful of you guys here, you're able to do so because I'm able to give you the analysis, even if I'm not taking the trade myself. So let me try to clean this up a little bit and try to clean up my chart as much as possible because it's pretty messy right now. Let's see. Damn, this thing is dumping. I was hoping to take the sell there too. I wish I would have taken it, but there's no woulda, shoulda, coulda here. It's really if I took it or if I didn't, which I didn't take it, so it's all good. Anyways, price is dumping super heavy. Very strong market reaction to the news for today. I mean, it's doing exactly what we expected, so I'm glad that it's doing what we expected because it just goes to show that if you have an idea of like what's going to happen, this thing is still dumping. And this thing is going to hell right now. It is shooting through. Sam said your bias was a buy, Sean. Yeah, and earlier it was a buy, but the news events over here obviously had other things in mind, right? So earlier it was a buy because price was pushing up, but it dropped because of the news events. Right here at 6:45, we had Chicago PMI, which was negative. That started the drop. And then over here, of course, with Michigan consumer sentiment, it was also negative. But my overall bias was a sell with regard to the outlook, right? So we already talked about this earlier. It did exactly what my overall bias was for the day. That's why my AI here is really smart, right? This thing predicted that it was going to be bearish today, and that's exactly what happened. Price is bearish. The bias at the time of market open right here was bullish, but my daily outlook over here, my AI agent pretty much identified that this was likely to happen. And that's exactly what happened here. It did exactly that. So that's why for me, this is usually going to be my bigger outlook. And then I try to align my analysis with this outlook, right? If my analysis doesn't align, then it's okay. I'll still look for trades in the other direction. But when it aligns, usually the trades will work out in my favor there pretty nicely. Like if you have everything. So everything here, my market structure is now bearish. So yeah, exactly. Sam said it's hard to take trades against bias. Exactly. Because I had a bullish bias here initially. So, even though I did see the sells here starting to come in, I didn't want to hop into the sells because I was still looking for buys around this area here. So like I said earlier, I wouldn't start looking for sells until price came down to here, which it eventually did. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard to go get your bias because, that's kind of what's made me successful in trading. It's like having a bias and sticking to that bias. Sticking to your trading plan. So price here is dumped pretty heavily as we speak. A lot of this stuff is news driven because the news events were negative. I mean, I'll try to look for some entries here, but I think the volatility may start to slow down as we got to this lower point because prices dropped about 300 or yeah, 237 points so far. So it's overextended now. Price is overextended. It's due for retracement. Retracement might not even happen. What we might get here is just a sideways move. So this thing just might go sideways now. It might go flat and just go sideways. Everyone who made money off this drop, they're basically calling it a week now because it is the weekend. And they're probably going to be out of the market. Volatility is just going to go sideways for a bit. But we'll see. I could be wrong and the volatility can stay up. But we'll see. See what I got here real quick. So we don't have any other news events for today, but we'll see what happens here next. Let's see. So Sam is asking, so what is this consumer sentiment negative mean for you in the US? So with that being the case, what's driving the drop here is that there is rising inflation concern. So because the number here was negative, there's a possibility that inflation is going higher. Um, the buying conditions for basically durables, which was the news from earlier this week, has dropped. So like it's kind of a counterintuitive number because we have tariffs that are obviously going to affect the inflation. Inflation's probably going to go up higher, and it's softening the future expectations. So with that being the case, I mean, like, just the takeaway from it is that the Michigan consumer sentiment was basically below expectations, right? They're expecting inflation to get better, not worse. But because the number here was negative, inflation is getting worse, of course. So that's just like, the basic thing there. Like, obviously with inflation, you don't want inflation to keep going up, right? Every month you want it to go lower and lower. But right here, it was more so, it wasn't like horrible, right? The news wasn't horrible. It was only off by like a few points. Let me see. Let's go back to the news event. So yeah, so last month it was right here, 61.7. Let's just click on it. Maybe I'll have the previous data there. Yeah, so you can see over here, this is the 29th. So it's been bad basically 3 months in a row. Right. It was looking good earlier. So like May, June, July, it was looking good, and then it started to go worse. That's why here it's starting to dump because it's been in a cycle here where it's starting to go worse and worse and worse, right? Like for example, what we hear in the beginning of the year, a lot of negative, and then we started to see some good here, and then it just went back to negative. So with that being the case, it's not good for the economy. So just looking at it from a fundamental perspective, it's not a huge drop, but it's, tying this in with the previous inflation data, it's not looking good. Because if inflation goes up and then we cut rates, then, we can go into a recession. Trump here has been trying to cut rates forever now. So there's just a couple different things there that are going to go hand in hand. Because if the inflation gets worse, then, Powell is not going to cut rates in September. I think he's still going to cut rates. He'll probably give it a haircut, 0.25, 25 basis points, but nothing higher than that. I'm not expecting a 50-point cut. Uh, um, there's going to be one cut this year, though. I think one cut, maybe September, maybe October, but it's going to be one of those months. All right, so market here is now flat, guys. It's doing pretty much what I just warned you guys about. This is kind of like what happens on a Friday and then also on a long weekend. People made their money here on the sells, and now they've sold off their positions and just now going flat. Yeah, no problem, Sam. Fundamentals are very tricky, right? Because like thing is like my analysis of like the inflation data, I don't have a fundamentals background, so I'm just giving you the obvious. That's just kind of what I see and what I think may be the case with that news event, or just inflation news in general. Next week is NFP, right? So with NFP next week, that stuff's going to go hand in hand with the inflation and jobs data this week. And then after that, we have CPI data, which is inflation week, second week of September. And that's where everything comes into full picture, right? Because you have jobs data. Like this whole week, we had some jobs data, some housing data, and then some inflation data. Just little pieces of like what's going to happen next month. Next month, we have the full jobs data, NFP, first week of September, and then we have inflation data after that. So here's the thing, like, see, we have negative news here. If the news is more negative and it continues to be negative into week 2 of September, then that's where we're going to have a bigger drop, right? You might wake up on Tuesday of let me see, what is that? So Tuesday, September 9th, and I think that's CPI news, right? Let's check real quick. So let's go Tuesday next week, September. Yeah, right here. Let's see. Uh, Thursday actually. So Wednesday we have PPI on the 10th, and then 11th we have CPI. He might, if everything's negative, then you might come on Wednesday over here and price might be dumping. So that's when you look at it from a bigger perspective, right? You look at this from a bigger perspective because you have the inflation data for this week. You know it's negative. You come to inflation week in 2 weeks from now. If everything's negative up until then, expect the market to continue dropping. So. You just got to use it to your advantage. You don't take trades based off whatever the news event is. You just have an idea. Like if you have an idea and it's like, oh, negative, 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 what do you think is going to happen in 2 weeks? Price is going to drop. Duh, right? You just got to use your common sense. So I would say, don't dig too deep into it. I've got into a little bit of a rabbit hole trying to understand fundamentals. The thing is, it doesn't matter how much you understand fundamentals. We're day trading, so it's not going to be a huge impact unless you're swing trading. Swing trading is a different story because you're going to see those big moves happen day after day. But for us here, I would say just take a look at my daily outlook and it'll tell you exactly what to look for. Right here, my daily outlook predicted a sell. Overall bias is bullish, but the sell here did happen. So the overall move was still a sell. The short-term move was bullish. So whenever my short-term analysis lines up with my long-term analysis, that's where I'm like, okay, cool. I'm for sure going to look for trades in that direction. Like right now, my bias is just starting to shift to a sell because price is down here. But with price being down here, it's not really going to be useful to us because we just have consolidation down here, right? Price is now consolidating sideways. This isn't exactly a great thing for us. It's not a great thing. It's not a bad thing either. Ideally, I'd like it to move directional, but with the situation that we're currently in right now, I'm probably not going to get a directional move here. Let's see. Rashida said I was trying to take a levels for the sell down, but it never gave a retest. Yeah, exactly, Rashida. It was a big sharp drop right here based off the news. It would have been nice though, right? Getting that retest because it would have came up nicely and then just continued dumping lower. Right now, this is not a good time to take these directional moves. If you want to take sweeps, guys, sweeps could be a possibility, but other than that, not quite. There's another gap right here, or not gap, there's a imbalance right there. So if you guys are looking at this imbalance, it's from this red candle right here and this red candle right here. Price is retesting the imbalance. So this is good here. I like seeing the imbalance here getting retested because if this is the case, we may have opportunity here for a high-low break and retest, right? Price can possibly break and close below this lower low and continue dropping from there. Possibility, no guarantee, but possibility right there. If you're looking to continue riding this lower, I mean, I'd be careful riding this lower because, like I said, it's due for retracement. And that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Looking at this, maybe retracing back up to open. Messy charts. This whole week's been pretty messy overall. Man, this is the first time I had coffee in the morning in a long time. You guys never see me drinking coffee in the morning. Being a new dad is starting to catch up to me. But I kind of like coffee in the morning because it gets me more into the analysis. Like I'm like awake and I'm like really looking at the analysis. Typically, I'm like kind of falling asleep here on the live because I just woke up. But I had coffee this morning, so I was able to do like a full analysis. I've been kind of up to date with everything that's been happening here. Typically, I'm kind of slow with reacting to the market because I'm not looking to jump into anything really quickly. But having some of that caffeine in the morning has helped me a lot with just sticking in the game, right? I think that's a thing that a lot of people get with trading. It's trading fatigue. I'm sure a lot of you guys have had that before. You're good for the first 30 minutes of market open, and then you start to fade off, right? You start to get lazy. You start to look at other things. You start to get distracted. Um, I mean, I've been pretty spot on with like identifying the direction of price here, following the market bias and stuff like that. So no break and retest off this lower low, unfortunately. I was really looking to maybe possibly get into that there. But we'll see here. So there's two things that may happen here. Price is either going to break and retest this area, continue up higher. So it pretty much mitigated this imbalance, guys. If this candle here closes above, this imbalance here is going to be mitigated. It already broke and retest right there. So that's why I was looking for this here to come down below, break and retest. But if this is the case here and this becomes mitigated, then we might have a continuation back to the upside, which I'm okay with, right? I would be okay with taking buys here if we do get a nice push back to the upside. I would like price to push from this area here and climb back up to open, right? I think ideally that'd be nice, a nice thing to follow. So let's clean this up right there. There goes the imbalance has been mitigated. We may have possible opportunity. This is a high-low break and retest right here. I mean, I wouldn't take this here, of course, because there's no confluences here, no confirmation that price is actually climbing up. But this here could be the start of a push to the upside. So this could be the start, right? We have an imbalance here, which is currently pending. So this is now a bullish imbalance. All right, so this bullish imbalance right here, it is established with this candle right here and this one right here. So this is a break and retest off of this lower high. Not exactly one I would take because the bullish confirmation hasn't really confirmed yet, but this here is a bullish break and retest and a bullish imbalance. So what I'd like to see here is possibly a retest of the imbalance, push up higher, and then continuation from there, right? I think that would be key. There's two things here that may happen. So either this is going to happen and price continues up, or what may happen here is price may fake out and pull back into this range, right? Let's see. Price is either going to break out, fake out, pull back into this range, or it's going to break and retest and climb up higher. That's why I wouldn't jump into these positions right away because, like I said, you got to wait for that confirmation. There's no confirmation here yet. Market structure is still very bearish. So I wouldn't really be looking for buys here until we have that confirmation. Yeah, it's pretty bearish right now, guys. Bearish across the board on the 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minute, etc. It's bearish. So again, price is within the imbalance right now. There's two things that may happen here. Price is either going to mitigate this imbalance and come back into this range, or price can break and retest this imbalance and climb up higher. Right? Pay attention to what's happening within the imbalance right here. This is very key. Sam said, "Oh, don't worry. After Trump, I'm done putting my money on fundamentals." Yeah, everything is news driven right now, Sam.
Connection lost.
Connection lost. Everything is news driven right now, guys. So, a lot of this stuff, you just see market reaction to news. Whether it be inflation news, whether it be tariff news, whether it be interest rate news, whether it be Trump, whether it be Russia, whether it be whatever's going on, there's always something going on, right? we got Labor Day this weekend. I'm sure something's gonna happen this weekend. I hate to say it, but like we're in that type of world right now where like Trump is picking a fight with everybody, right? He's trying to get rid of the Fed Cook. That's like the big thing right now. If you guys follow the news, Fed Cook is like suing Trump right now for trying to fire her. And it's like it's crazy. It's like this stuff would never happen under a different administration, right? Um, so I mean, Trump's gonna. It's an interesting ride right now that we're currently in with Trump being president because I think after Trump is done, we're gonna have to have a real president, right? Like a president that's like a traditional president, not someone that's kind of like very colorful like Trump. Like Trump is it's kind of like interesting but funny as well to see like how we're kind of like in a circus. If you guys have noticed that, like in the US is like kind of looked at as a circus right now. Because Trump is not your traditional type of president. He likes to shake things up, obviously, and he likes to do a lot of things that a normal president wouldn't do. So, I think we're going to be in a lot of turmoil for the next couple of years with Trump being president. But once I think the next president that's in line has got to be, he's got to be balanced. He's got to be like a regular president, like basically like an Obama. Because basically for the past two presidencies, it's been a circus both ways. It was a circus for Biden because, Sleepy Joe, of course. Everybody knows about Sleepy Joe. Um, and then obviously Trump, and then it was Trump, Biden, Trump. And then I think for the next presidency, that's when the market's going to start to kind of stabilize again. Um, I've been trading for a long time now, so I've noticed how the markets kind of react to whoever's president. And when Obama was president, the market was pretty steady. It was really easy to catch continuation trends and stuff like that. And then when Trump became president, market was all over the place. And then when Biden was president, market was just flat. It wasn't consistent at all. And then Trump is president again, so here we go, some crazy market. So you kind of just have to adapt to like what's going on with current events and with like who's president and stuff like that, and just understand that like markets react to their actions. So. I mean, we'll see, guys. We got some time with Trump, so you get used to this volatile market, this very choppy market, because this is what we got to deal with for the next couple years or so. And then I'm hoping that we get somebody that's like, he doesn't have to be a Democrat, he doesn't have to be like a Republican. We just want to have somebody that's more that's steady, right? So like another Obama, another George Bush, another, those types of presidents. Not someone that's gonna like make a mockery of like the presidency. But it's all good. We'll see. Either way, I'm gonna be in the market regardless. So whoever's president, however the market's moving, I'm gonna be looking for ways to adapt. Hey lad, yeah, thanks, bro. Yeah, I gotta get some new shirts made. I'm gonna get some new shirts made and I'll probably send some out to you guys. Yeah, I got these shirts made a while back. I gotta get some new ones for the Cody Kai Capital. Um, yeah, I gotta get a new order in. Or I'll probably do another reorder of these shirts because a lot of you guys did like these shirts. Let's see. Ross said is FTMO accepting US clients. Mine says orders locked. Um, from what I saw, Ross, it looked like they were opening it to US clients. I don't know for sure. I don't know if it's like it was just an announcement. They haven't started to allow. Um, so did you buy an account with them already, Ross, or are you trying to buy an account? Because I was able to log into my FTMO. Let me see. Like I was able to log into it this week, but I haven't bought an account with them yet. Oh, it looks like they moved us to a different website. Yeah, it's a different website. So I logged in on the regular website and then it transferred me over to the US website. Um, and it looks like it's letting me purchase right now. Yeah, so Yeah, it let me purchase for the $200,000 account. It's 1,249. Pretty expensive, but I mean it's it's a one-time fee and then you kind of take your time with it. Yeah, so it let me log in here. Let me see if I could show this to you. I don't want to show my my details and stuff. I mean, it wouldn't matter. My address here is it's no longer my address, but okay. So yeah, here is the FTMO website, Ross. It let me buy an account. It's not that expensive. Now that I think about it, it's not that expensive because this is what we started with a long time ago. It's the same price actually. This is just including the VAT tax because it's in Europe. But yeah, it's letting me purchase. It's gonna be MT5. So yeah, it does allow for us to sign up. So with the FTMO guys, and just looking at the chart, guys, there's nothing going on here. So don't worry, you guys are not missing out on anything here. Trust me, I'm still looking for my entry for the day. I'm really hoping I can get maybe one entry, but I'm not going to force anything here. But for those of you who have been trading with me for a while, about like 5 years ago, we used to trade with FTMO. That was like the first prop firm that I used. That was before Apex was even around. About 5 years ago, there was no Apex, there was no Tradeify, there was none of these US companies that were doing prop accounts. I used to trade my own personal account back then, but I found out about FTMO, and that was the first prop firm that I traded with. Let me see. Let me see if I still have it here. I was one of the first people to get fully funded with FTMO in the US. It was crazy because I was like the only person who was on FTMO a long time ago. Let me see if I have it. I have my certificates here, I think. Yeah, because nobody was using FTMO. Okay, here we go. So I was one of the very first people. This is how I got pretty kind of popular in the prop space because so right here in February 2023, I got max allocation. I had basically 400,000 in trading funds with FTMO a long time ago. So 2023 or in 2025, about like 3 years ago or so. Their accounts are a little more expensive, but they're legit. Like I never got denied a payout. Um, they were European companies, so it was kind of different how you got paid out. It was like a wire and stuff like that. But yeah, the accounts are expensive, but I just never had any problems with them. They were like my first introduction to, I mean, it was crazy when I got this. So if you guys remember, a lot of you guys were trading with me during that time. Like when I got funded with them, I got my first payout and I think it was like 20 or 40K and I went and I bought a Tesla Model X like this the same day. I literally was like, oh shit, this is cool because I've never like traded a prop account and I got my first payout and I was like, well, I'm gonna go spend this on something expensive. And that was like when the Tesla Model X's were like really popular, with the wing doors. And I went out and I bought my Tesla like that same day. And that's kind of where I got my taste of prop accounts and making a lot of money trading. So yeah, if you guys want to use FTMO, a lot of guys have been with me for a while. They're a great prop firm to use. They're a little more expensive, but you make your money's worth like pretty quickly with them because it's more balanced. So let's see, here's the difference. And guys, there's no entries here right now, so don't worry. I'm still looking for my entry. But the split is nice. So like with FTMO, it's 10,000 drawdown and 10K prop target. No time limit. One-time fee plus refund of fee when passed. So this is why I was okay with getting the 200K account because you get refunded when you pass, right? So say for example, you pay that $1,000 and then you take forever to pass your account. So you're trading the account for like a couple months, which is completely fine. It could take you that long if you need to. But yeah, once you pass the account, you get a refund. So you get the $1,000 back, plus you start to get payouts right away. They don't have that stupid threshold like with Apex. It's like you pass and then you have to make a threshold. It's like, bro, what the hell? I just made this money already. You just pay me out. With FTMO, it's cool because once you pass, you get a refund. You don't pay an activation fee. And then on top of that, you get payouts right away. You don't have to reach this like threshold. Like this is kind of annoying with Apex because like, so for example, here, I haven't gotten a payout this month because I've been kind of back and forth a little bit. But with Apex, it's like you have to pass eval, reach threshold, capped on payout, right? It's kind of annoying because you waste like a couple of weeks or a month or so to pass the eval. Then you got to reach the threshold. That's like another couple of weeks or a month to reach your threshold, and then you're still capped on your payout. With FTMO, you don't have any of that stuff. It's like you pass, and then once you pass, you start making money. So just something to keep in mind. There's a lot of different pros and cons to it. I think the biggest drawdown with FTMO is that they're still on MT5. That's like it's a dated platform. I don't like trading on MT5 as much. And then it just costs more. There's more you just have to like you got to have the money up front to be able to. And there's ways around it. So if you guys want an idea, I mean, you can get a zero down credit card, right? If you don't have the cash for it, I don't recommend you do this, but if you feel confident with your trading, you can sign up for a zero down credit card, zero APR for a year, and then hopefully within that year you pass your FTMO, so you get that refund back, and then you start making payouts. That's how I did it with FTMO. Like back then, I didn't really have money like that because I was just starting to get profitable trading a long time ago. And then, I took the risk and then I ended up doing pretty well. And then, that was about it. Just continued on from there. So we'll see. Yeah, Sam said he's loving FTMI. I mean, I'm jealous about it with you, Sam, because you've been using FTMO since you're out, you're out in Europe. So you've been able to use them. Here in the US, I remember when they first shut down FTMO, I was like pretty bummed out because I didn't want to, I didn't have any other backup company to use. And then a lot of these other prop companies, if you guys remember Funding Talent, Funding Talent was like the biggest scam ever. That was the biggest rug pull. Um, because people went from FTMO to Funding Talent and then from Funding Talent to like these other companies. But yeah, it was a change going from FTMO to Apex. Let's see, Ross said, is that the Oanda FTMO web address? So um, I logged into the regular FTMO website, and then it automatically transferred me over, Ross. I didn't go to a different website manually. It just, as soon as I logged in, it said, "Oh, you're a US client," and then it had me click the other website button, and then it took me to the US website. So I didn't do anything specifically. I just logged into the regular FTMO website. Okay, yeah, if that's the case, then yeah, I would assume it's Awanda because they'd have to go through one of the US regulated companies to sign people up. Ben is asking, would you be able to trade FTMO count on the TradingView platform? That's a good question. I actually have no idea. I have no idea because so what I would say is I can't log out of mine because I'm currently logged into my Tradeovate right now. But go down to your trading panel right here. If you could, Ben, you could log out of it and then see if MT5 is on there. Yeah, see if one of the brokers is MetaTrader 5. Well, I mean, that actually does make sense because MetaTrader is not a broker. But yeah, see if that option is in there. Because if I disconnect from this, it's gonna disconnect all my data. So I can't disconnect from it right now. At least not on the live session. All right, guys, we got price pushing up right here. If this is the case, this could be a possible high-low break and retest off this higher high. It's going to be at 45.52 if anybody's looking to get, or 45.556 right there. 45.556 for possible high-low break and retest if anybody's looking to hop into that right there. Let me try to clean this up a little bit. It's a little messy here. So let's see. I'm gonna clean this up. Clean this up. Stuff's kind of irrelevant. Or I'll leave this up for now. I'll leave up some of these things. I'll leave those two up right now. But yeah, if you want to check, Ben, just look down on the bottom and then like check out your trading panel and see if they have MT5 there. From my understanding, I don't think they do. Oh, you know what? Actually, so I can't answer that question yet because like what Ross just mentioned, if it's FT, if it's Owanda, Owanda is on here because Owanda's actual broker. MT5 is a platform, Owanda is the actual broker. So if that's the case, I know Owanda is part of the list. So if that is the situation, then yes, you can probably trade directly on TradingView. Okay, guys, possibly a high-low break and retest right here. Price broke past it, super strong, a huge spike candle right there. If you guys are looking to take this here for an entry, entry is going to be right here at the higher high, which is at 45,556. It's got to fill on this candle right here. If it doesn't fill on this candle, there's no entry there. I don't know if it's going to come down and fill. This is one that I would be actually okay taking. So let's see. I'm going to try to put my order right there. See if it fills it for me. If it doesn't fill on this candle, then I'll cancel it. We got 20 seconds left on this candle. There's no fill on it yet. Keep watching it as price continues to move along. I have a feeling this thing is going to blast right through and it's not going to come back to fill. All right, we got 5 seconds left. I don't see this filling. I'm going to cancel my order. Order canceled. No fill. Yeah, man. This has been like the situation all week. Like we have price break structure. We wait for that fill
Canceled.
and it doesn't actually fill and then it just ends up shooting right through the target. This here started looking good because I'm looking at the market structure. It's now bullish again. And the target I'd look for is that opening price. Um, there's an MPS V2 right here. But yeah, for this high-low break and retest, no fill, unfortunately. It's kind of been the thing here again. This is what we've been seeing like pretty much all week, guys. We've been having nice setups, and price just ends up going through, but it doesn't come back for the fill, so we can never get into the position. It just ends up taking off before it fills our position, and then we just miss the trade completely. All right, I'm gonna clean that up. See what else we got here. Let's see. Visual said it's not like who is the president when Obama was president. Dow was at 15K level. Now we're at 45K. So 1% move back. Then was 130 points. Now it's like 500 points a day. Yeah, exactly, Visual. So that's what I mean. With the president, they don't necessarily dictate where price can go. It just depends on how consistent the market's moving, right? Like with Trump being president, we have like these just imagine this right here, guys. This is how much it's moved within like 30 minutes to an hour, right? We have a 200 point move. Um, with this right here, in comparison, and this isn't even like the full day's move. Like, let me just kind of give you guys some context here. Here, let's just go down here. There's nothing going on. Damn, I have all these levels down here. So when Obama was president, we'd probably get maybe a 100 point move for the entire day, right? So this is when Obama was president. We get like maybe a 150 point move. When Biden was president, we would get like maybe a quarter of that, right? Maybe like a 50 point move. Or we'll say 60. We'll be generous here. But when Trump is president, we get like a 500 point move, right? You guys see the difference here? This is what I mean about the presidency. Like the cool thing with when Obama was president is like you'll see like a slight like a nice trend, right? It'll just move like this throughout the entire day. Nice trend down, or vice versa, a nice trend up. That's what you would see when Obama was president or when Bush was president, right? Like one of those types of presidents that didn't have a huge impact in the market. Like they kind of just were saying good things about the market at all times. Like they're always optimistic and price would be a nice slow climb up. When Biden was president, you would see this. Nothing. Literally nothing. It was just dead all day. And then you have Trump here, you have stuff like this. Market will open down the middle, spike up a bunch, come crashing down, and then come right back up. So you guys see the difference here? This is the difference between presidencies. Like when you have a more stable president, it's just a continuation to the upside or continuation to the downside. When you have a president that kind of does nothing, it just goes sideways, right? When he has no opinion in the market. When you have a president that has too much opinion, that's typically what happens. You get the craziness. So Trump, Biden, Obama, Bush, whoever, doesn't matter. Anyways, so that's enough talk about presidents for the day. But yeah, that's kind of the market that we're in. Anyways, I'm looking for an entry here. So here's another perfect example of what I just mentioned. See how this was all over the place? This is regular for what we're in. You know, during regular market, you'll see nice continuation up, nice continuation down. Not this crazy choppiness. So looks like the buys here again are out of the picture. We got price breaking below here. There's a possible high-low break and retest off this higher low. Not necessarily one that I would personally take because my bias here isn't one-sided. It's kind of mixed. But if you guys do want to take this here, this is a possible high-low break and retest off of this higher low level. Yeah. All right, Ben. Yeah. So if that's the case and they have a Wanda, then, but don't quote me on it yet because I'm not for sure if they're using a Wanda as a broker. I'm sure they are using because that's the company that they own. They own that broker now. Um, then, if a Wanda is the broker, you could log in and you could use them. But I wouldn't, if that's like a deal breaker for you, I would say message FTMO first and confirm that Owanda is their broker and that you can trade directly on TradingView. I'm sure that would be the case. Let's see, Sam got out. It's all good, Sam. Sam got out for 15 points on the trade. It's better to have some profit than no profit because the volatility here is not very consistent. So rather be safe than sorry, right, Sam, on that trade there. Visual said, well, if you go back and check even during Biden, average move was about 400 points per day. Now, if Dow goes to 100K level, guess what the movement will be for the day? 1,000 points. Yeah, exactly. No, but I'm saying like Biden in general, right? There were some days where like obviously the market was going pretty crazy because of like what was going on with Russia, because we had the whole Russia war going on, right? Russia, Ukraine. That's what caused those big volatility spikes. But on average, so let's go back on average to like when Biden was because I think it would move like maybe 100 points. Like it really wouldn't move that much. When was Biden president? Like I can't even remember, honestly. Let's see. Biden president. Because I remember the market used to be super, super slow years in office. So he was president between 21 and 2025. So like, let's measure these candles right here. Like this is a realistic view of like how much it was moving. And I would measure like the body, not really like the whole wick. Because yeah, of course the range is gonna be wide, but the body is like where the actual see how slow these candles were? We would have like basically like 40-point days. I know some days we'd have big ones, of course, because there's news days, of course, when stuff would move like 400 pips or so. But if you look on average, we had a lot of days here where it was just really flat. So yeah, I agree with you, Visual. Like, on some days it's just like, or overall it'd be moving because there was some sort of news event happening. But a lot of these days here where it was flat, it was because Biden he wasn't having any opinion on what was happening, right? We had the Ukraine and Russia war initiating, and he didn't have anything to say about it. There were like mass shootings in the US. He had nothing to say about it. There was big events happening throughout the world, and he would get on his podium and just kind of doze off and have nothing to say. With Trump, it's a different story, right? When something happens, Trump is on it. He has something to say before it even happens. He's the one that causes it to happen. And that's what causes these big volatility spikes. I mean, you compare like those days where it's moving 40 points, and then you compare it to today, one candle is like 40 points. It's a huge difference with regard to volatility. And the market's just a different The market's just a different place now. Everything is news driven. We have a lot of things to be worried about: inflation, tariffs, interest rates, etc., housing, stuff like that. And then I feel like as we continued on with the market, more people got into the market. I feel like pre-COVID, it wasn't as volatile as it is now because there weren't as many players in the market. Now it's like everybody wants to get into the market and have their piece. So yeah, you just adapt with the market, you adapt with the times, and that's just kind of how it is. So yeah. All right, guys, we got price kind of moving around here as we speak. This higher low over here never retested, so there was no high low break and retest off that. We have a couple imbalances here. I'm just not going to mark it up because it's just kind of pointless unless we have a retest of that area. We have a pending low right here. So we have a pending low right here with a possible break and retest right there, but we just don't have any confirmation at the moment. Let's see, Sam said, yeah, man, Pan was sell, but got spooked when you said you were going to break and retest there, so it got out at 15. Plan was 40 to 80. Yeah, it's all good. I mean, it looked like it was going to continue up higher, right? It just never retested. I think if it did retest off here, it probably would have pushed back to the open, but it never retested right there on that candle. So you can see how the volatility died down, Sam. This is where the turnaround started happening. Price was pushing up, the buyers lost control, and then it came pushing down super strong right there. Yeah, that was the turning point, that one candle that we were looking at right there. Basically a little doji. Came up, reversal pattern, picked up on the sellers, and then it just came down super strong from that point. But we wouldn't be able to tell this. Like if I replay from here, there's no way we could have identified that. I mean, it was a scenario, right? That was a scenario that I told you guys about. When we were looking for the break and retest here, I said if price retests this area, then okay, great, we're gonna get back to open. If it doesn't happen that way, then price may come down and reverse back into the range, right? Right here, right back into this range. And that's exactly what happened. It is stuck within the range here. Gumdrop is asking if I ever tried trading NQ or ES. I've tried trading NQ in the past. It doesn't work. I mean, it doesn't necessarily not work for me. If you go to NQ, you'll see the strategies still work perfectly fine. It just doesn't work for my trading style. Like for example, if you wanted to take an MPSV2, MPSV2 came up right here. So the strategies still work. It's just it doesn't fit my trading criteria because the copier is not going to work on NQ. It's measured differently. You have to use different targets, different stop losses because it's measured in ticks, not points. And you have to convert that. So all my settings are set to YM, and I'm trading too many accounts. So in order for me to go from YM to NQ, I have to change all my settings, and it's just not possible. So yeah, no, I've looked at NQ and I've tried to trade NQ in the past, but it's never stuck with me. So I just stick to YM. ES, I don't really trade ES because it's basically the same as YM if you put them next to each other. So you look at ES right here, see how it's moving? Look at YM. Same exact thing, right? YM is just more volatile. So the crossover between YM and ES is kind of pointless. You should choose one or the other. You can like basically you can trade both YM and NQ because they're different. But for me, because I'm trading so many accounts in my copier, I don't have the opportunity to like switch between them quickly because they're not the same targets, they're not the same contract sizes, they're not the same worth per point. So it's different. So yeah, I can't unless I was using two laptops, maybe I could trade both, which I can. I do have two laptops, but it's just I stick to YM by itself. Yeah, I know you gotta stick to your trading plan, Sam. Just gotta stick to your trading plan no matter what. Especially because the bias here was already bearish, right? So like, I mean, the sell-through would have made more sense. It was just I was anticipating the possible reversal at some point. Man, this right here too would have been good. So again, guys, same situation earlier that we were talking about up here. See how price over here broke below it but didn't retest it? This has been a continuing pattern this whole week. It doesn't retest, but then it ends up just dumping from there. This here would be valid because it already passed through. Man, this looks like it might be one of those days where not going to get a trade. So unfortunately, it looks like I'm going to close this week out red, guys. It's the first red week in a while, so it's okay. I mean, this is all part of the game, right? So here's me. I'm just showing you guys to be transparent. I only took one loss this week. This is a loss that could have easily been avoided, but I kind of FOMOed into a trade here. So unfortunately, I lost 33,175 for this week. I'm still up 130,590 in profit for the month. And then for the year so far, I'm still up in profit 712,820. So this is the realistic side of trading, guys. You know, you're not always going to have perfect weeks. You're not always going to have perfect months. I had a damn near perfect month. I'm kind of mad at myself right now because I mean, this here could have been easily avoided. I would have had a perfect month for August. But again, you know, I played my strengths to my advantage, and I still close out this month with some pretty good profit, 130,590 for the month of August. Looks like we're gonna wrap up this month pretty soon. Yeah, it's about to be 8 o'clock. So unfortunately, doesn't look like I'm gonna get an entry here. I was hoping for one entry. Like one entry could have brought me back, but obviously there's no entries here. Let me see if there's anything here that could have came up that I would have possibly have taken. Like I think a BV3 would have been good. So like right here, we had a sell signal, red candle right there. And I probably could have placed a limit order right there for a breakout V3 continuation. That's one of the main strategies that we used to apply back in the day. I mean, also the high-low break and retest, but the high-low break and retest wasn't playing. MPSV2 here as well. There's no MPSV2. I'm just looking at there's an MPSV2 right here. But you know, at this point now it's like this is where the FOMO is going to start to kick in, and I really shouldn't be following into any trades here because it doesn't follow my trading plan. My trading plan is to follow, you know, my playbook. So my playbook for the day, I'd have to look for these types of entries, which they're just not coming up. Right? No high low break and retest. I mean, if anything, I could look for a sweep, but I'm probably not going to get those 40-point sweeps. So no need to force this here. Elad is asking, Sean, can you show how to purchase real-time data in TradingView? So I can't show you here because it's going to show all my credit details. It's going to show my personal information. But if you go over here, go to here, and then go to your settings and billings, and then from there you can pull up the data. If you look at, I think in our first video, Elad, if you watch the replay, we went over it, right? I know one of those videos we went over and I showed you where to look at it. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't show you because I'd have to show you like all my personal details would show up because it's all pre-filled. But yeah, you just go over here, go to your account, go to settings and billings, and then right there you have an option to choose your data. Yeah, and then you would choose CME Group. I think it's like $7 for non-professional. Man, $7 for non-professional, $700 for professional, and you got to update TradingView. That's something I do not look forward to. Again, guys, I'm taking my Series 3 on September 15th. So in about a couple weeks, I'll take my Series 3. It's looking good so far. These are like my stats right now. I've taken about 978 questions. I'm currently at an average of 94.7%. I just want to make sure that I'm pretty much guaranteeing my my pass rate on this. So like I need to have about a 70%. I'm doing pretty well. So I think, you know, I can just walk into the test, take it and be good. But I'm not looking forward to all the increased fees because once I pass that test, I got to register with the NFA as a professional trader. Fortunately, it's then I got to incur all these additional fees. My data fees are going to be super, super expensive. My trading view is gonna be super expensive. Everything's gonna be super expensive for me. Nothing changes. I just get that professional trader status, um, which I mean is kind of cool because then now when I do promote my hedge fund, I do have that license, and it does, I can tell people that I'm a professional trader. So, like a lot of people when they do trading and they post a thing where it's like, oh, this is not trading advice or anything like that. Like I can like once you register as a professional trader, I can tell you that that's trading advice because I'm licensed to give that type of advice out. But you'll see a lot of people like they'll trade and they'll say they'll give you the disclosures and whatnot in the beginning. I mean, I still have the disclosures on my YouTube, but yeah, once you register, I guess that's the benefit of registering. You can technically give trading advice legally and you can charge for it. You see a lot of people out there that are giving trading advice and stuff like that, and they're charging for it. You're not supposed to do that. It's considered illegal. So look out, guys. I'll be snitching on you. I'm messing with you guys, even though I probably should. It's like it sucks for the people who have to register and have to pay the fees because we take the whole back end of it, and then there's a lot of these Instagram gurus and your YouTube gurus out there who are giving trading advice, but they're not registered. And the fees are pretty hefty. I mean, it's pretty crazy if you look. So if you go over here, I always find it interesting. Uh, you probably won't see a lot of the people that you follow, but if you go over here to CFTC. So this is the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. This is where you'd have to register. It's kind of interesting when you look here because you can kind of search up people who are like traders who've been like snitched on basically. Because you can like literally snitch. Like if you've been scammed by somebody who's like giving trading signals or advice or anything like that, you can literally report them to here and they'll get hit with some crazy fees. Like on average, usually I see people who get reported, like people who have a signal service here in the US, but they're not registered to give trading advice, and they get hit with like $100,000 fee, $1 million fee, and then they have to basically refund everybody. So, I mean, yeah, if you're not feeling, if there's someone out there who scammed you, go to cftc.org or .gov and then report them. It's crazy. I'm trying to find the thing here. There's like a link here where you can kind of search. A lot of the stuff here is not really from people who are selling advice, but it's mainly like bootleg brokers and stuff like that. Like, say, for example, if Apex was to scam you and they didn't pay you out, you could go over here and you could report Apex and they'll basically have to pay you out. Because you could basically strong arm them. You can be like, oh, you guys are scamming. I'm gonna report you to the CFTC, and they're like, all right, fine, we'll just pay you out to keep you quiet. So that's why it's always cool to trade with companies that are based in the US because you can always find a way around it. Like everybody sues everybody for everything in the US, right? So if the that's why you guys got to be careful. I know some of you guys out there have like some trading education or trading some type of trading thing where you're selling advice, you're selling signals, or you're selling stuff like that. And yeah, there's always it just takes one person to complain and they can really get you in some deep shit. All right, guys, it is 8:03 right now, so there's nothing here to take. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hop into the chat. Otherwise, there's just nothing else for me to take here at the moment. Looks like Sam over here caught the MPSV2. Nice. So Sam here got the MPSV2 for a buy. It looks like there was a buy signal retracement confirmation right there. And Sam took that for a quick 15 points, it looks like. So great work right there, Sam, on catching that MPSV2. See, as much as I want to squeeze the trade in, guys, it's not part of my trading plan. So if it doesn't fall within my trading plan, I'm not going to force any trades here. There's no need for me to force anything here as we continue on. Um, yeah, unfortunately, I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet, guys. I'm gonna take the L for this week and take that big fat L and take my loss. But I'm still happy for this month. So I did pretty great this month, guys. I think we killed it with regard to the consistency and the discipline. The FOMO really got to me on the 27th here because I woke up late on the 26th, missed an entry, local plate on the 27th, missed an entry. It got to me. It got to that point where I just really wanted to take a trade. I forced a high-low break and retest. That was not a good entry. And then I ended up losing. So it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how long you've been trading, you can still make mistakes, guys. So the market will always humble you no matter what. I've been trading for 12 years now. I still make mistakes. I don't make mistakes as often, but I still make mistakes. So it's all good. All right, guys. I think that's it for the day. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up. Just another reminder, guys, Monday is Labor Day, so no trading on Monday. I'll give you guys a heads up in the Discord as well. But yeah, no trading on Monday. This week, I only took one trade. It was a loss. It was a FOMO trade. I missed the orb for that day, which could have been a nice win. It would have set me over for the week, but it's all good. Got to take these markets day by day, and if the entries don't come up, then they just don't come up. So yeah, no orb here for me because the orb here was opposite. If you guys are just got in late, there's only one entry that came up today, which was the momentum breakout, full TP right here for 50 points. There were no scalps for the day. There was a couple sweeps here, but nothing that I would personally take, of course. And I think that's going to be about it. Yeah, Sam said, thanks for today. It all happens. Plan. Yeah, definitely, Sam. So, all right, guys, have a great weekend. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Discord. Otherwise, I'm gonna wrap this up. Long weekend. So enjoy your weekend, guys. Step away from the charts if you guys can. No need to be on the charts all weekend. Monday is going to be a holiday. So if you want to get on early and just kind of review stuff, feel free to review on Monday. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, this is it for the week, guys. So have a great weekend, and I will see you guys here on